Thank you very much to Samarito for rejoining as a member of the Kinetic Rugby League channel, and thank you very much to Brian Fisher for becoming a new member of the channel as well. If you'd like to support the work that I do, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But let's get on with the video. Starting with 12th place and moving down one, I have Salford Red Devils. Their first half versus Leeds looked pretty good. They ran the ball well and moved upfield. The defence looked quite solid for the most part as well, and in possession they created chances. And the second half, we started to see more errors and penalties, which kind of meant the points started to snowball. Even with some big names missing, they're still showing signs of improvement on both sides of the ball as well, which is good signs. And one player in particular of the young lads that are currently filling in is Declan Murphy, who I want to give a quick shout out to. Very quick, very agile, runs with intent and makes players miss. He's one to look out for in the future for sure. On to 11th and moving up one, I have the Castleford Tigers. They looked fine to start versus Warrington. From a few moments early on, I thought they might have an issue with conceding too many line breaks, but they sorted out the defence on the edges quite quickly, to be honest. They made some good yards through the middle with their carries, they kicked well, they chased well, and they didn't allow too many easy opportunities when trying to pin Warrington back. On their own goal line, they looked quite solid on top of that. They didn't get out of shape easily at all. They stayed fairly consistent in their performance throughout the game. In 10th, and still in 10th, I have Catalans Dragons. Their game was similar to Salford in that they were still in the game at half time, but in the second half there was errors and ill discipline which just didn't help later on. They found themselves in decent field position a fair few times, but at no point did I actually feel like they'd do any real or significant damage to Hull Kingston Rovers. They were basically second best at everything. They did like to shift the ball down the left-hand side to Daryl Latour. He'd make some meters, but he wouldn't really pass the ball off or wouldn't really be able to make much happen. He'd get tackled, they'd work the ball back towards the middle, they'd end the set and usually kick pretty poorly on the last tackle and just gift KR decent field position to start a fresh set. And that was it really, just rinse and repeat for Catalans Dragons, but yeah, they'll stay in 10th. In 9th place and still in 9th, I have the Huddersfield Giants. Once again, great start for them, looking lively, looking solid, Tuilala getting involved again, creating chances. The Giants take the lead and from then on just couldn't compete. Once Wakey got one try, the floodgates opened. Defensively, Huddersfield were poor, but the fact that they came into the game with such a strong lineup too, and just didn't compete through the middle at all given the size of their pack, or create more chances was extremely disappointing, especially after the improvements they've been making, and the problems they've had with injuries looking like it's kind of a thing of the past. They didn't have Flanagan, which I think was a huge issue for them, but yes, Wake, you're a good side, but I expected better from the Huddersfield Giants. In 8th place, and still in 8th, I have Warrington Wolves. Near enough from start to finish, the performance versus Castleford at the weekend was just slow. Predictable and slow. There's a real lack of creativity and flair in this side. We usually don't see energy or intent to try anything until the game gets away from Warrington. The execution and decision making was awful as well. Warrington had a few chances, but you'd either see the pass go wayward and end up behind someone, or someone on a wrench would not pass the ball when he should have done. Things just don't feel right at Warrington right now, and I have to question some of the calls. Why was Ratchford put on the wings and not King when Ratchford has played in the centres? King has played on the wing before. Why would you do the opposite? Why was the bench made up of one prop, two halfbacks, and one other who I've got no idea what his position actually is? So that's the bottom group out of the way. Honestly, this entire group is fairly close together, and then there's a gap to 7th place and above. So I think I'll call this group the Unreliables. But moving on to 7th place and moving down to, I have Wigan Warriors. Now I'm fully aware they're missing some key names, but their squad still looks full of quality. The forward pack is still the same relatively, but for the last few months they've been kind of average, I think you could say. A lot of them don't look bothered when they take a carry. Defensively, some of the effort areas are poor. They still have some decent moments to the side when they spread the ball. When they play the flat style down the left-hand side, they can be too quick for some teams and find a fair few line breaks, but it's not going to work every time. Defensively, they're looking vulnerable because they've conceded some easy walk-ins recently, which we aren't used to seeing with Wigan, but I'm kind of starting to become used to that now, which is a little bit weird. But finally, a quick word on Christian Wade. Now, I'm well aware he's new to the sport, fully aware of that, and he's done some really good stuff, don't get me wrong. He's getting involved with carries, he scored a couple of tries, and the one versus Hull, by the way, was really good. But with these catches, he needs to get that under control. He's looking at the chases and worrying about the hit. If he's not willing to take the hit, he's got to step away. Simple as that. He's done some good stuff, but he's got to clean up the catches. On to 6th place, and moving up one, I have Hull FC. Now, I was really impressed with their efforts and performance at the weekend. I'll play a clip from my live stream from the other day that basically explains how I felt about their performance, so I'll let that do the talking. But from this point, we need to see consistency. The speed, the effort, the connections, it all needs to stay consistent because Wakey are on their heels. Anyway, run VT. From start to finish, competed well through the middle, great carries, quick play the balls, offloads, post-contact meters, move the ball cleanly, completed sets, kicked well, chased well, defended well. Everything from Hull FC, clean, professional, executed well. Great effort from FC. Wigan haven't been great, they made a lot of mistakes, but everything that Hull FC could do well and control themselves, they've done really well. Fully earned from FC today. Really well done. On to 5th place, and moving up one, I have Wakefield Trinity. As I mentioned for Huddersfield, they had a great start, so early on I thought it could end up being a decent game. But once Wakey got their first try, again, as I said, the points kept snowballing. Their forwards are doing such a great job this year, and they're so hard to bring down. Like, you can get a hand on them, but they can still drag you, wriggle free, and get an offload, and basically make you do more work just to get them to play the ball. And that adds up so much over the course of 80 minutes. And this week, it was a great response in possession, because last week, they lacked a lot of creativity and speed as well, and intent. But they really stepped up this week, and again, played with so much pace and intent and attack. And by the way, Max Jowett is one hell of a player. Just in case you didn't already know, but Max Jowett is a quality player. On to 4th place, and moving down 2, I have St Helens. Now, I don't actually have too much to complain about with their performance. There are things that I'll get into, but the positives include their forward pack, who competed well through the middle. Leigh and Knowles both put in good shifts, but Alex Walmsley was excellent. So many effective carries that resulted in either missed tackles, offloads, post-contact meters, or quick play the balls. Everything that you want from a prop forward, Alex Walmsley provides that, and he did plenty of times against Leigh. He was great at the weekend. I couldn't really fault Saints' kicking game too much, or even their defence. I think they looked fine in those areas. They kept the game within reach for a very long portion of the game, but the major concern is their attack. They just cannot seem to make anything significant happen with all the great field position that they can find themselves in. It really does highlight just how good their defence is, though. If they can go so long in games without scoring, or not scoring much, but they can stay in those games just through their defence, against good to great teams as well, it just shows how good their defence really is. I can rely on their defence to show up. I have trust in that, but can they find enough points? Kind of depends if they're playing Leeds or not. On to 3rd place, and moving up one this week, I have Hull Kingston Rovers. Now, I wasn't blown away with their first half display versus Catalans. First half was a little boring and uneventful, to be honest, but I can't fault their efforts. They still look very solid in defence, just in attack they seemed a little slower, slightly disconnected at times. But in the second half, Catalans made a bunch of mistakes. Hull KR found themselves in great field position. They got back into their usual grind as well, won in basically all areas, controlled the ruck, didn't allow anything easy for Catalans, and they moved the ball around a little bit quicker and more effectively in possession. The constant good was their defence, which was solid from start to finish. And as I say, they didn't give anything easy to Catalans for free, aside from maybe the odd penalty here and there, but they'd back it up in defence straight after that. So yeah, Hull Kingston Rovers move up one into 3rd. On to 2nd place, and moving up one, I have Leeds Rhinos. Some people won't be happy with their first half performance simply because it was against Salford, and I understand some of the complaints because in the first half, Leeds didn't play to their potential, they left a lot of room for improvement, but Salford did play well in the first half too, so keep that in mind. Now, the second half was a lot cleaner. I would say the yellow card, of course, for Salford helped to open up the game for Leeds, and from that point on, the game belonged to the Rhinos. Now, in defence, they weren't perfect, but they were as solid as you'd normally expect. There were a few moments throughout where they looked disconnected as a unit in possession and in defence, but it took some individual efforts at times to get them out of trouble or to create an opportunity, and sometimes that's all you need. If as a unit you're not getting it done, you just need those individuals to just give you a spark from somewhere to get you out of danger. So overall, far from perfect, but solid enough in attack and in defence. Finally, in first place, and still in first place, I have Leigh Leopards. Now, I expected a close game versus Saints, and as I said in my predictions video, I thought it would be Saints' defence versus Leigh's attack. And Leigh did a great job in all areas. Their forwards are so mobile. Like, when I spoke about Wakefield, they just make defenders miss. They can create second phases. You need to put in extra work to bring them down. Joe Afengawi might be the signing of the season. If not, at least top 5, and that's playing it very safe. They're so quick with the ball. They move the ball around effectively as well, so everyone is still in stride. Hanley is still winning his 1v1s in defence. Niu is still forcing defenders back. And then you've got the likes of Mulhern, Liu, Trout, who just keep adding to the meters through the middle. Lam and O'Brien look so comfortable together. Matt Namara off the bench is a great addition as well, usually at hooker. But when he's on with Ipape, it frees up Edwin Ipape to play as the first receiver in kind of a 7/13 role. And he can play 9 as well, obviously, at the same time, which then frees up O'Brien or Lamb as well to play out the back. They're built really well all round at the moment. I just think there are 3 things they need at this point for me to fully believe that they can win the grand final. Just 3 things. Number 1, which is completely out of their hands, by the way, they need to stay healthy. That's number 1. Number 2, which is in their hands, they need to stay consistent in defence. That's the one area I need to see them staying consistent in. They've done a great job in the last 3 weeks. They've just got to keep it going. And number 3, I think they need to keep Hodgson at fullback. I like Armstrong, and I was very high on him to start the season. But I think he's just got to be the cover for now. Whenever he's available, he's just cover for Hodgson. Maybe put him back at fullback for next season, but stop forcing him back in. Keep Hodgson there, back him, give him more confidence, give him more reps in this spine, and he will deliver. If Leigh can manage those 3 things for the next 8 or 9 weeks leading up to playoffs, the grand final trophy could be theirs. But that is going to be it. If you guys have your own power rankings or there's anything you change, anything you disagree with, let me know in the comments section down below. But as always, if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. And if you'd like to become a member and support the work that I do, you can do by clicking the join button below this video and joining for as little as £1 per month. But that's going to be it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.